I'd like to talk to you about the early MA program in the Department of Religious Studies at UNC Charlote. And what I'd like to explain to you are various reasons to consider this program and think about whether it might be something you would be interested in. The first thing I'd like to speak to you about are all the professional reasons to consider the early MA, to consider, in fact, the MA as such. What are the transferable, marketable skills that you get out of doing an MA, actually, of any kind? To complete an MA takes research skills, communication skills, writing skills, critical thinking skills, public speaking skills, and self-reliance, independence, and self-discipline. All of those things are really important to employers in our world. Having the ability to demonstrate that you have advanced analytical skills, that you can manage your time and your tasks, that you can use your own initiative, you know how to research a topic and think about it, that you can demonstrate self-reliance, all of those things are actually going to have an effect on the way that an employer sees you. And that's an advantage to really any MA degree. It demonstrates that you are a step ahead in terms of acquiring these advanced analytical skills. Your starting salary is likely, no matter what your field is or where you end up working with your MA degree, is going to likely be higher because the degree itself confers a measure of expertise on what you bring to any employer that a BA and a BS does not. And I want to admit to you right here and now that yes, you can get all of the things that I've just described from just about any MA degree in the humanities, whether it's philosophy or English or history. But I also want to say that if religious studies really floats your boat, why not consider the advantages that that particular MA might offer you in terms of your future employment? So let me speak to that a little bit. One example is that you can demonstrate to any employer in the world in any field that you're particularly aware and particularly well educated and sensitive about religious differences, about issues of diversity. That kind of expertise is really considered quite valuable in a host of different worlds that we live in, from medical management to local government, from private corporate contexts to not-for-profit contexts. Having employees who not only research well, communicate well, write well, think well, speak well, and can work well on their own, but who are also really aware of how different people approach the world and think about the world in terms of their religious background, religious context, and religious practice is really a key skill. It's a measure of your capacity to understand how diverse the world is, and that too is a skill you bring into any employment possibility that you might have. So one of the things that I also want to speak to you about are the financial reasons to consider the early MA, because you can't lose to consider this. For one thing, you will be able to pursue your undergraduate degree, undergraduate credit, at an undergraduate price and have 12 hours, well planned, count not only for your undergraduate degree, but for an MA degree. So those 12 hours that you're pursuing as part of your undergraduate work, that you're paying undergraduate fees for, that you're getting undergraduate credit for, essentially permit you to acquire 12 hours of advanced graduate credit for absolutely nothing. An MA in religious studies requires 30 hours of that advanced credit. Effectively, you can earn almost half of that credit, in essence, for free. So what are the conditions that we think about in terms of what it is that you need to enter the early MA program? What are the basics? Generally, you need to have completed 75 credit hours, and we assume that by the time you're starting the early MA program, you have 90 under your belt. You'll need a 3.2 overall undergraduate GPA. So you do have to have that 3.2. You do have to be able to demonstrate that you've done really well in your academic work. Once you're admitted, you have to maintain a minimum 3.0 overall undergraduate GPA to the program. So what's the ratio here? If you plan this really well, if you get into an early MA program around your junior year and you complete all 12 hours before your undergraduate work is done, it might be possible for you to spend 5 years at UNCC and you might be graduating with 2 degrees, which is really an extraordinary way, both financially and in terms of your time, to walk out of your academic life with an advanced degree that's cost you almost less than, a little bit more than half of what it would have cost otherwise, and in potentially about half the time. So if it's worth a thought to you, head to the Religious Studies website where there's more information about the early entry graduate program, and it really only takes one email to whoever the current director of graduate studies is to sit down, look over your transcript, talk about your interests, and find out whether the early MA in the Department of Religious Studies is something you want to consider applying for. Thank you.